Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Mr. English Studio.
Hi, everyone. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic that many learners find tricky: how to talk about the future in English.
Yes, and here's the catch. Future tense in English is not just one tense like you might expect. It's actually a collection of forms and expressions. You'll see why this is so important to master early on.
Imagine this. You're trying to make plans with friends or talk about your goals, but you hesitate or get confused because you're unsure which future form to use. That uncertainty could make your English sound less natural or even cause misunderstandings.
Exactly. But here's something surprising. English doesn't have a single dedicated future tense like other languages. Instead, it relies on modal verbs, auxiliary verbs, and even the simple present or present continuous to express the future depending on the context.
So, the biggest secret to sounding fluent isn't memorizing one future form, but learning when and how to use these different expressions exactly right.
Let's give you a quick taste. If I say, I will call you tomorrow, that's a simple future. But if I say, I'm calling you tomorrow, I'm using present continuous for a planned future action.
Or, I'm going to call you indicates a decision already made, and I might call you shows possibility. See the subtle but important differences?
This mix of forms can confuse learners because English speakers use them interchangeably depending on intention, certainty, and timing.
That's why today we want to break down all these forms, explain when to use each one, highlight common mistakes, and show you practical examples you can apply immediately.
By the end of this video, you'll not only be able to say things about the future correctly, but you'll also sound natural, confident, and fluently ready for real conversations.
And if you stick with us, we'll reveal some insider tips and tricks that even some experienced English learners miss.
Plus, we'll bust myths that hold learners back from mastering the future tense and give you a clear action plan to practice.
Ready to unlock the power of the future tense? Let's get started.
First, a quick look at the different ways to talk about the future in English. We've got the will future, going to future, present continuous for future plans, simple present for scheduled events, and modal verbs like might, could, or shall.
Starting with will, it's the classic future form. We use it when we make spontaneous decisions. For example, I will help you with that means you decide in the moment to offer help.
Will also expresses promises, offers, predictions without evidence, and facts about the future. For instance, it will rain tomorrow is a prediction based on what you think or know.
Then we have going to, which is all about intention or plans already made, like I'm going to visit my family this weekend. Here, the plan exists before the moment of speaking.
This is an important distinction many learners miss. The difference between will and going to often confuses people, but it's really about whether the decision is spontaneous or planned.
The present continuous is interesting because we usually use it for things happening right now, but it also describes definite future arrangements. For example, I'm meeting John at 6 p.m. It shows a confirmed plan.
Another subtle but powerful form is the simple present tense to talk about scheduled future events such as timetables and itineraries, like the train leaves at 8 o'clock.
That's right. It sounds strange at first, but we use the simple present for fixed events, showing certainty.
Finally, modal verbs like might or could express possibility or uncertainty about the future, as in, I might go to the party, or she could arrive late.
This variety shows that future speech in English is really about nuance and intention, not just one tense.
Now, why is this important? Because getting these right makes your English sound natural and clear.
Instead of sounding like a textbook robot, you'll sound like a confident native or advanced speaker who understands the subtle shades of meaning.
And knowing these forms helps you understand native speakers better, since they switch between these forms all the time, depending on context, attitude, and certainty.
So, practicing these forms will boost your fluency dramatically.
In our next part, we will dig deeper into each form with detailed examples and explanations.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll analyze these future tense forms thoroughly.
Welcome back. Let's dive deeper into the main ways to talk about the future in English and how each is used with real-life examples.
Starting with the most straightforward one, the future with will. We use will primarily for spontaneous decisions or predictions without evidence. For example, if someone asks you right now, what do you want to eat? You can say, I will have the pizza. It's a decision made on the spot.
Another use of will is to make promises or offers. Saying, I will help you with your homework is a promise, and I will open the window is an offer.
When making predictions with will, we often don't have proof. For example, I think it will snow tomorrow. The speaker isn't looking outside right now, but expresses a belief about the future.
How about the negative and question forms with will? They're very common. For example, will you come to the party? Or I will not be late. These forms are essential for polite requests and refusals.
Next up is the going to future, which is all about prior plans or intentions. If you've already decided what to do, you use going to. For instance, I'm going to start a new course next week. The decision happened before speaking.
Going to also expresses predictions, but the key difference is when there's physical evidence. For example, if you see dark clouds, you can say, it's going to rain. This prediction is based on current evidence.
This distinction between will and going to often trips learners up. Remember, will for spontaneous choices or guesses without evidence, going to for planned actions or predictions with evidence.
Now, the present continuous tense. It's interesting because although it's often used for current actions, it's also used for fixed future arrangements. For example, I'm meeting my friends tomorrow.
This shows the arrangement is definite, often with another person involved. Using present continuous instead of will or going to here stresses certainty.
Simple present tense for future is another important form. It's used mainly for scheduled official events like timetables or programs. For example, the train leaves at 9 a.m. or the meeting starts at 3 p.m.
If you say will leave here, it sounds odd. The simple present makes the event sound fixed and official.
Let's talk about modal verbs like might, could, and may. These express possibility or uncertainty. For example, she might come to the party, meaning it's not certain, but it's possible.
These modals help you add nuance and politeness when you're not sure about the future.
Another subtle future marker is the simple future with shall, which is more formal and often used for offers or suggestions, especially in questions. Shall I open the window?
Perfect. You now got a toolkit of different future forms: will, going to, present continuous, simple present, and modals for possibility.
But here comes the tricky part. When do you use which one? Let's look at some examples side by side.
Example 1. You see a friend and say, I will call you later. That's spontaneous. But if you had already planned, you'd say, I'm going to call you later.
Example 2, tickets show the movie starts at 7 p.m. So say, the movie starts at 7 p.m. Simple present, not will start at 7 p.m.
Example 3. You arrange to meet at 5 p.m., so you say, I'm meeting Sarah at 5 p.m. This is present continuous for a planned future arrangement.
These nuances can seem complex, but get easier with practice.
And don't forget, native speakers mix these forms naturally depending on what they want to emphasize: certainty, intention, spontaneity, or schedules.
A great way to master this is by paying attention to context in conversations and practice forming sentences with different future forms based on your plans and intentions.
And we'll also share common mistakes in using these forms and how to avoid them in the next section. But first, here's a quick quiz to test yourself.
Listen, which future form would you use here? I blank meet my boss tomorrow morning. Which sounds right?
The answer is present continuous. I'm meeting my boss tomorrow morning because it's a definite plan.
Here's one more. Look at those clouds. It blank rains soon. Because there's evidence it's going to rain soon is correct.
Perfect. These distinctions make all the difference.
Ready to put all this into practice? Next, we'll move to real applications and tips to use these future forms confidently in conversation.
Don't forget, mastering the future tense is a game changer for sounding natural and expressing yourself clearly.
Welcome back to part 3. Now that you understand the different future forms, it's time to see how you can use them effectively in everyday conversation.
One of the best strategies is to always think about your intention before choosing the future form. Ask yourself, is this a spontaneous decision, a definite plan, a prediction with evidence, or a possibility?
That intention guides your choice between will, going to, and the present continuous, among others.
Let's look at some do's and don'ts to avoid common errors.
Do not mix will and going to without considering intention. For example, saying, I will visit my friend next week when you've already planned it is less natural than I'm going to visit my friend next week.
Correct. Learners often use will for everything because it feels like the true future tense, but it oversimplifies the nuance.
Another don't, avoid using the simple present for future events unless talking about schedules or timetables. Saying, I leave tomorrow works only if it's definitely scheduled, like a flight or bus.
Also, use present continuous for planned events, but don't use it for predictions or spontaneous decisions. I'm going to win the lottery sounds odd because winning the lottery isn't a plan.
Great point, James. And modals like might and could are perfect when you want to express uncertainty, but not use will, which suggests more certainty.
Here's a practical application. When making social plans, use present continuous, like, I'm having dinner with Anna tonight. If someone asks how sure you are, you can switch to might or could for flexibility.
Another tip is listening closely to native speakers and noticing which future form they use. This helps internalize natural usage.
Now, to make your learning even more effective, let's talk about how you should practice.
Practice by making your own sentences about your plans for the week using present continuous, then switch to going to for your intentions and will for any spontaneous decisions.
Record yourself or write a short diary entry about your future plans. This makes the usage real and personal.
Consistency matters here. Don't just memorize rules, apply them in conversations and writing.
Time for a quick role play. Imagine I say, I think I'll watch a movie tonight. What might you respond?
I could say, oh, are you going to watch anything special or just deciding now?
Exactly. Your use of going to implies a plan, and will suggests a spontaneous decision.
Now, before we pause, a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this and want more practical English lessons like this, subscribe to Mr. English Studio, like this video, and leave a comment with your favorite future form.
Your support helps us create more high-quality content and keep offering tips that work in real life.
Thanks for being part of our learning community. Ready for more? In the next part, we'll explore some myths and misconceptions that can trip you up when using future tense.
Plus, common mistakes and how to fix them, so you can speak future tense confidently and correctly every time.
See you in part 4. Welcome back to part 4. Now it's time to clear up some myths and misconceptions about talking about the future in English.
One big myth is that English was a single, simple future tense. Many learners think will is the only way to talk about the future. But as you've learned, there are several forms, each with its own purpose.
That leads to a common mistake, overusing will in all future situations. For example, saying, I will meet Sarah at 7 p.m. when it's a planned event sounds less natural than I'm meeting Sarah at 7 p.m.
Another misconception is confusing going to with will. People often use going to only for plans, but it's also used for predictions that have clear evidence. For example, look at those storm clouds. It's going to rain.
Some learners mistakenly use going to for spontaneous decisions, which is incorrect. For example, saying, I'm going to help you at the moment you decide is less natural than I will help you.
Another frequent error is misusing the present continuous. Learners sometimes say, I'm going to the shop now, when they mean at this very moment, instead of a future planned action.
Remember, present continuous is for future arranged plans, not current actions. So, I'm meeting Anna tomorrow is future. For now, say, I'm going to the shop or I'm at the shop.
A common mistake involves the simple present tense for scheduled events. Learners often say, the train will arrive at 9 a.m., but native speakers use the train arrives at 9 a.m.
Using will arrive here sounds awkward because it implies uncertainty. The simple present conveys a fixed schedule with certainty.
Let's not forget modal verbs like might, could, and may. Learners often avoid these because they seem complicated, but they're essential to express possibility or uncertainty politely.
Avoid replacing modals with will when you're unsure. Saying, I will probably go is less natural than I might go or I could go.
Now, how can you fix these mistakes? First, practice recognizing the intention behind what you want to say. Is it a plan, prediction, possibility, or spontaneous decision?
Then, choose the future form accordingly. Using context clues from your sentence or situation helps.
Another solution is to listen to native speakers carefully and imitate how they discuss future events in conversations, movies, or podcasts.
Practicing with a partner or teacher who can give you feedback is invaluable. They can correct subtle errors that are easy to miss on your own.
Also, reading and writing exercises focusing on the future forms improve your awareness and usage.
Lastly, be patient with yourself. These distinctions can be subtle, but will become natural over time with consistent practice.
Here's a quick recap of what to avoid. Don't overuse will. Don't confuse going to and will. Use present continuous only for arranged plans. Use simple present for fixed schedules. And don't shy away from modals.
Correct these common mistakes, and your future tense will sound much more like a native speaker's English.
Up next, in Part 5, we'll summarize everything and give you a clear action plan to master talking about the future quickly.
Plus, a motivational closing to inspire your learning journey. Ready? Let's finish strong in Part 5. We've reached Part 5, the final section of our discussion on how to talk about the future in English. Let's review what we've learned.
First, English uses several ways to express the future: will, going to, present continuous, simple present, and modal verbs like might or could. Each has a specific role depending on your intention.
Remember, will is for spontaneous decisions, promises, or predictions without evidence. Going to is for plans already made or predictions based on visible evidence.
Present continuous is for definite, arranged future plans, while simple present is for scheduled or timetabled events. Modal verbs express uncertainty or possibility.
The most important tip is to always identify your intention before choosing your future form. This will make your English clearer and much more natural.
Now here's an action plan to master future tense. Observe native speakers in movies, podcasts, or conversations, paying attention to how they express the future. Practice forming sentences daily, focusing on your own plans, predictions, and possibilities. Record your speaking to self-check your use of future forms. Write short paragraphs about your upcoming events using different future tenses. Get feedback from teachers, friends, or language exchange partners to improve accuracy.
Consistent practice with real-life examples is the key to feeling confident.
And don't worry about making mistakes. They're part of learning. The goal is progress, not perfection.
To motivate you, think about how powerful it is to communicate your plans and dreams clearly in English. Talking about the future means talking about your goals, hopes, and possibilities.
When you master the future tense, doors open. You can make appointments, share your vision, and connect with people easily.
So keep practicing every day, and soon you'll be speaking about the future with confidence and ease.
Thanks for joining us throughout this series. Don't forget to subscribe to Mr. English Studio, like and comment your favorite future form below. We love hearing from you.
See you in the next video with more helpful English lessons. Good luck and keep moving forward.